Welcome everyone and good morning. Happy Wednesday. I am Lucia Peters and I am the CEO and founder of Global Business Academy. It's great to be here this morning. I am well rested, and after 3 days of our virtual expo to support small business, we are here to get down and help you guys get yourselves seen on social media. Today's topic, though, is about your ideal client avatar. Now, this is basic stuff, but it's something that many people forget, and it's always nice to go over and remind ourselves and remind you out there watching this that maybe just starting on your journey, that the ideal client or that person, good morning, Dean, that person that you're talking to, we have the capacity to build a relationship with that person. Now, I always tell my clients that your ideal client and avatar is you. And that's pretty right. But there might be traits that I have that maybe my ideal client doesn't have. So it's good to understand where your ideal client is coming from. And many of us forget the journey that we've been on. We've been in business 10, 15 years, and we forget that the process that we went through to get to where we are today. So if any of this is resonating with you, put an 8 in the chat, because I'd love you to really take yourself back to when you began, how you felt, how your confidence was, how your ability to talk in front of people was, all of the things that you may have forgotten in the journey along the way, because understanding your ideal client is understanding their characteristics, their goals, their values, and what is really super important to them. And they may not be able to express it or vocalize it because they're not there yet. So understanding the journey that you've been on and identifying the people that are just like you is crucial. Good day, whoever that is. Great to see you. Happy Wednesday. Hello, Ariel. Hello, Barb. Hello, GV. Hello, Reg. Hello, Dean. It's lovely to be here. So we're going to talk about this because it's a really interesting topic. We tend to forget about who we're talking to. And, if I think about my journey and, 10 years, a lot happens in 10 years, a lot happens in 1 year. And so, people forget the path that they've gone on. And I reminded myself over, the past 3 days in the expo, what I was like when I did my first Periscope, when I did my first live on Facebook. I can remember someone, a fairly, an acquaintance, but someone that I knew from, my school days, said to me, "You said 68 ums in that presentation." And I went, I kind of know that. I'm practicing. I'm learning my craft. Please understand I didn't do it on purpose. It's just, anxiety and, lacking confidence. Confidence comes as we use those skills, like a little person that's learning to walk, right? So I want you all to think about your ideal avatar. What is their name? Think of a profile that, mine has always been Sally. Sally is my ideal client avatar. So I know where she lives. I know what her, what her inner thoughts are. I know what her goals, possibly are, and I know her values. So her family is her highest value, and then her health. And I know that, right? So they're the people that I really am aligned to. As a heart-centered individual, they're the people that I radiate outwardly to, but also those people connect back to me. So think about that. Who are those people? Now, I'm a baby boomer. So as a baby boomer, I also understand the demographics of the individual that I'm talking about. I know that they, have their house, their children are possibly grown up, they've got grandchildren. They don't have much superannuation, because when we were accumulating, income, there was no such thing as super. Super didn't happen until we were in our 40s. So, for us, we only had a very small window of opportunity. Good morning. So, it's quite interesting understanding all of the demographics and all of the, the things that make up that individual, because you're coming from the same path. Very, very often these people are still working, don't want to be, but they have the capacity, they've still got value to offer, and they really are, healthy, because, baby boomers, as we found, live longer than, our forefathers, kind of thing. So, all of those things you need to take into mind. And when you're talking to people, they're the sort of clues that you get around, where it is that they may need your support, or they may need your product or your offer, right? Because we can never assume that, that person that we're talking to doesn't need extra. It's really easy to think, oh, they're okay, they're doing okay, but we don't know the story, we don't know the backstory, we don't know what's going on in their world. So it's very, very interesting that you do have those relationships in business to identify where people are coming from, how they, morning Leslie, what their, what are their deepest goals still, their interests, their opinions, their behaviors, their, all of those things. Now I'm telling you this, right? So mostly I look for someone just like myself. I'll look for that person. But it doesn't mean that I would turn someone else away. Like if I was talking to someone that was in their 30s, I wouldn't be saying, no, you're not my ideal client, I can't help you. Absolutely can help you. Absolutely. The skill, wisdom, and knowledge that I have, I want to share with everyone. And if I have a 30-something that wants to learn, or a 40-something that wants to learn my skills, I'm going to share them with them, right? So it's not like, oh, you're not my ideal client, I can't help you. I've got the capacity to help as many people as I can. And that's my goal, right? To support 10,000 people and help them understand how social media works, how to get an online presence, and to get, a business out there. As you know, I'm in a health and wellness business as well. So sharing that and understanding the demographics of that individual. That individual possibly is midlife, has health issues. So I understand that ideal client as well. So, they both work and gel really, really well together. So do your research, right? If you are a baby boomer, and majority of my clients, that come across and I help, are baby boomers. They are baby boomers. They are individuals that still have value, that still have wisdom and knowledge that they can help others with. And so, they want to use the platform, the social media platform. So gather the data, really understand. And what I mean by gathering the data and the preferences and, you know, the behaviors of these people is by using social media questions. Questions will always get you answers, always on social media. It is the best tool you can use on social. You know, you can tell people something, but you can also, you know, let people make their own decisions, right? Telling is a different thing to attracting. And we want to attract. We don't want to tell and sell. We want to attract. We want to gain relationships. We want to build those relationships. Then we want to monetize. We don't want to monetize straight away. There's no way. It's not ethical to do that. It's really, you know, that pushy salesman. So utilize the tools and the resources that you have at your fingertips. Now, if you are following me and have followed me for a while, you will know that I teach organic. I do not, you know, I do not use Facebook ads. And, you know, sometimes it can be slower. And I know that. And we're not patient. But we can speed it up. You know, if you were to post 3 times a day, each day, you would get noticed more. If you only post once a day, you're not going to get the same, you know, interaction. So what are you going to choose? Are you going to choose that you post 3 times a day, work a bit harder for 1 year, or are you just going to take it slower and post, you know, daily posts? That is your choice. That is your choice as an individual, as a business owner, right? It's all up to you. You may want to have a virtual assistant that does that for you. That's where the virtual assistants come in, and they can do your 3 posts a day. So do some research, right? Gather some insights. Go to the back office of Facebook and have a look at who is commenting on your posts. What is happening in your Facebook? Like, don't keep doing what you've always done and getting the same result. If it's not in a month, if it doesn't work, change that plan. You can't keep doing it. It's not going to work. You've got to do something. You've got to be realistic. And, you know, Facebook is a very, it's an open book. And people won't comment if they don't like the post. It's as black and white as that. If they don't like it, they'll just go nah and move on. So you've got to hook them in, and you've got to see what it is that they are wanting in their business. Like, what are they wanting to learn? And a lot of it is mindset. Can I just say, mindset is 80%, 90% of your business. What's going up here in this little committee is vital. You can tell yourself that you don't have a successful business. You can tell yourself that, you know, there's no more customers out there. I'm always telling myself there are always more clients, there is abundance everywhere, and there is always more money. That's my mantra. It's been my mantra. Yeah, a lot of people love mindset, exactly. But if you ask a question around that, you will hear people talking about themselves. And what does that give you? That gives you information to understand what it is. You know, like Dean, you're you know, enhancing everyday family meals. What is it that, you know, would make you cooking your meals a lot easier? Ask the question. Put questions like that out there to your audience on your personal page. Find out what it is that those people are wanting to know. When it comes to smells, what sort of smells do you like? Do you like citrus? Do you like vanilla? Do you like, you know, those lovely cake smells? Or do you love those nice pine forest smells? simple questions will bring people back to you, because people love to talk about themselves, right? People love to talk about themselves. And that is what it's about. It's about building the relationship. Now, we are in the relationship building business. That's what cultivating genuine connections with your ideal client. Now, that ideal client could take 6 months to become your ideal client. You have to be prepared to build that long lasting relationship. Are you prepared? Put an 8 in the chat if you are prepared to do that. And I have to say, that has been me. Yep, yep. And what makes your kitchen feel homely? What is it? What is it that makes your kitchen feel homely? Hi, Facebook user. So the importance of authentic. Glad I'm not taping this. The authenticity that you're building in relationships is really, really, it's important. Like Dean knows. I know Dean from a way back now, and yeah, Dean, bring families together. Yeah, and that's one of my highest values, family. So it resonates. It resonates. Okay, that's the key. That is the key. When you're resonating with those people, you're building that authenticity. Like Dean may not be my ideal client, but he is my ideal client. He's a guy, but that doesn't mean anything, right? He is still a baby boomer. He's got skill, he's got wisdom, he's got knowledge, and he wants to help people. He wants to share that wisdom. He's heart-centered. When you discuss strategies for engaging with your audience, that's what I do, right? So that's how I help people. So if you are in a MLM business, then it's about that product. You want to know what is going to pique the interest to buy. What is it that those people are wanting to know about the product? Not addressing their ingredients so much, more about how that makes them feel. Because when we talk about our golden drops, the product, we don't talk about the bio-MS wellness and all of the technical stuff, which we can do. It's 18,000 times more absorbable. We talk about we can get better sleep. We have more energy. We have mental clarity. We talk about those things because they're what people want. People want that in buckets, particularly our ideal client, which is our baby boomers. So include storytelling. Storytelling is something that, some of us do really, really well. And I always go back to the shoe shop days where, the ladies in the shoe shop, they were young, they were pretty, they were gorgeous, and I surrounded myself with all of those beautiful women. And anyway, what would happen at about 3 o'clock? All the teenagers, the school kids would finish, and they'd head to the shoe department, right? They'd head to that shoe department, and you'd see the ladies that were beside me would take off. They'd go into the reserve, right? And I'd be like, where are they? What are they doing? And so this is how you weave a story and give a story. So the long shot of this is that these teenagers that would try on these shoes, they ended up becoming young women that left work, left school, came to become customers with me, because I was spent almost 10 years in that retail environment. Actually 20 years in that retail environment. And so they became, career women. One became a corporate newscaster. One became a what was she? She was a lawyer. She worked for a lawyer. She did, work with a lawyer. So all of these young schoolgirls that were trying on shoes then became my clients because I stayed there and I let them try on dozens of pairs of shoes because I didn't have a problem with it because I knew eventually either their mums would buy them a pair or they would become clients, they would become customers. So that is the importance of building relationships. And, some of those now, I see them because that's when I was working on the sunny coast. I see them now. One particularly, she's a new newscaster. I think she's up around Cairns now. And I see her, they go, oh, that's the, and I remember her when she was, that young person. And it's so beautiful. And then you see them with babies and you go, wow, so the whole journey is such a beautiful journey. And if you see it like that, then thanks, Reg. That is that authenticity. It's including the storytelling. It's listening actively and having empathy with your, the people that you've made the time to have a half an hour with. So explore different platforms. I dabble with TikTok, but I've actually come to really enjoy TikTok for my wellness, health business. It works really well. And so, my academy is part of Facebook, and I do the drops on Facebook, but I work around what works for my clients. So many of my clients don't see me on Instagram, so I use Facebook. So really, really work out where your people are, right? Where your ideal clients are most active. And statistically, Facebook is the place for the 35s to 70s. That's statistics, right? So, and if you are not using Facebook and all of its, little messenger chats and things like that, then you're missing a real opportunity. It is a website like no other. It's on steroids. You couldn't create a website like Facebook. Facebook is amazing. And it's free, right? It's free. It will tempt you and say, you want to pay, you want to boost, this would make a great ad, and you kind of go, ooh, maybe I will. It might get me some more clients, but it won't, don't be tempted. It's just throwing money away pretty much. So engage with your audience authentically on social media or any other relevant platform, right? It's all about the authenticity, right? And crafting compelling content. Like I said to you, sometimes you only need to ask questions to find out what it is. And Facebook is doing that at the moment currently, guys. Facebook backgrounds, Facebook has got them there for you, and the algorithm is backing that post. So everyone gets to see my Facebook background posts. It's so simple. It's such a simple task each day to come up with a question or a topic around mindset. So remember your ideal client, remember your avatar, attract them to your brand, and then help them, educate them, understand the importance of, putting the whole package together, and understand consistency. When you show up consistently, that is when people are going to say, I can trust this person. I know that they're going to be there for me. And I know that, what I learn along the way is, relevant and it's up to date. So they are the key things that I really wanted to really iterate about avatars, is understanding them and do some refreshers, do some more research. Get out there and ask questions. So have a great day, everyone. If this has been valuable, put some 8s in the chat. Absolutely, Dean. Consistency is the key. It is so, so important. Put some 8s in the chat, because I believe that, when you show up on a daily basis for your clients, you are going to build greater relationships. Have a great day. See you again next week. Thank you, guys. Bye for now.